Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our D365 Business Central webinar. It's Mark Thompson here. I'm here with Chris Nichols. I'd like to start the webinar by going through a short presentation on Columbus, who we are and what we do. I'm aware that some of our attendees are customers of ours, so I'll do this fairly rapidly. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I'd rather we allowed the time for the presentation of the Business Central platform. So I'll quickly go through who we are and what we do. I'll move then on to the benefits of moving to a cloud platform, how we would help you move to the cloud. So I think a lot of you out there already or currently are on-premise platforms, whether that be NAV or other solutions as an ERP solution. We'll talk about the benefits of moving to the cloud, how we would do that, and then a little bit about why choose Business Central as your cloud ERP platform. We'll look at the roadmap for Business Central and the next release of Business Central, and then we'll move into a demonstration. We'll talk about Microsoft's Power Platform, and we'll also talk about the new features of Business Central, and we'll demonstrate those to you. So moving on, as I say, I'm Mark Thompson, Client Services Director at Columbus, for those of you who don't know me, and Chris Nichols, one of our NAV consultants. Again, some of you will know him. We'll be doing the presentation today. Chris will be doing all the hard work. He's going to be doing the actual presentation of the software. I've got our email addresses at the bottom of the screen there. We will be sharing this presentation and webinar with you after the event, and it will be available on our website as well. So, quick introduction to Columbus. What's our mission? Well, we're an IT company. A lot of you will know us as your ERP provider, but we also provide a lot of solutions around IT. We'll talk about those in a second. We're not just ERP providers anymore. We can provide a whole range of solutions, and those are summarized on this next slide. Bear with me a second, nothing seems to be happening. There we go. And we call these offerings our 9 doors to digital leadership. So you'll see from this graphic here, excuse me, for some reason where I'm losing control of the mouse. You'll see from this graphic we do various things. ERP is the top central box, and that is what we'll be focusing on today. But you also see in there, and some of you will be familiar with these things, application management, cloud and infrastructure management. And clearly cloud's becoming more and more important for our customers. Microsoft are very much pushing their solutions out to a cloud environment. And we can offer that support for that to you, both in terms of moving your ERP solution to the cloud, but also in terms of being able to put you into a cloud environment if you effectively want to stay on-premise in the cloud, or a mixture, hybrid mixture of the two. We'll also cover off today some of the other things on this slide. So things like analytics and business insight, obviously very important from the perspective of most implementations, and we'll be covering that off when we cover off some of the additional Microsoft tools that are available in the cloud. So moving on to the next slide. Just a very brief introduction to Columbus by the numbers. We've been in business for 31 years. We're a global company, head office in Denmark, and about 4,000 customers worldwide with over 2,000 employees worldwide. 5 times Microsoft Global Partner of the Year, so we are very much a Microsoft partner. We offer a full range of Microsoft ERP and CRM solutions. But as I say, there's much more to what we can do now. A lot of that will be based around a Microsoft platform, but also will be include other Microsoft tools that we use as part of our implementations. In terms of the UK, we have offices in Nottingham, Cambridge and Warrington. We have a development arm out in Hyderabad as well, who are part of our UK team. About 220 people, just over, work out of the UK as well. Now, we've been working with Microsoft Dynamics NAV, or Navision as it used to be called, since 1996. Microsoft have recently rebranded NAV as D365 Business Central. And it's the latest version of Business Central that we'll be showing you today, and it's the cloud version of Business Central that we'll be showing you today. Business Central is available as an on-premise solution, but we feel there are some real benefits in terms of moving to the cloud. So what are those benefits? Well, firstly, cost savings. Obviously, in a cloud solution, you don't need your own hardware. The infrastructure, the servers are all part of the cloud subscription that you pay, which means you don't have the initial capital costs of hardware. You don't have the ongoing maintenance costs of hardware. But perhaps something that is important to people, people who've had NAV for a long time will know that upgrades can be quite problematic in terms of cost, moving from one version to another. In the cloud offering, the Business Central SaaS version, those upgrades happen automatically, and they happen every 6 months. So you're always on the latest version of the software. In terms of mobility, access from anywhere, this is it's an internet, it's a cloud solution, and as long as you've got a web browser, you can access the solution from wherever you are. Flexible and scalable, both in terms of licensing. You can scale the licenses to suit up and down to suit the business. And in terms of enhancements and apps, there's lots of functionality out there in terms of pre-written applications that you can add to the solution to flex it to meet your business needs. And as with NAV, we can enhance the solution as well. That's still possible in the cloud solution. In terms of collaboration, obviously everybody is able to access a solution from wherever they are, and you can be certain that everybody's sharing the same online version of data, so everything sees the same thing at the same time. And in terms of the environment, yeah, it's more friendly. It's a shared infrastructure. It reduces your power and need for redundancy, and therefore is more friendly to the environment. In terms of disaster recovery and security, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Your solutions will be backed up in the cloud. No need for you to remember to put a tape in every night and back up the system. So you can build in a high level of disaster recovery into these cloud solutions, but it starts with that very basic backup basically all of the time. And in terms of deploying the solution, we can fire up a new Business Central solution for you very, very quickly indeed. Obviously, there are still some training and service costs that go along with that, but in terms of firing up a solution, that can be done very quickly. And if you are thinking of transitioning to the cloud, how do we get you there? So there's still things to think about if you're moving from on-premise to cloud. I guess the key to this is to try and keep your functionality, keep the functionality as standard as possible. In the past, Navision or NAV has been quite often heavily modified. It's got a whole set of development tools that allow you to modify the solution. In the cloud, there's a real benefit to staying with standard functionality, as you'll be accessing these twice yearly upgrades automatically. However, we do recognize that people will still need customizations. So the possibility of customizing the solution is still there, and we can still do that for you. Part of cloud transition as well, we need to think about moving your data. We need to think about the integrations that are already in place with your current ERP system and any legacy systems that you've got. And all of that is built into our cloud transition methodology, which I'll come on to in a second. But the thing I mentioned before in terms of apps is also important. There are third-party solutions which automatically plug into the Dynamics 365 Business Central solution, which enable you to add functionality very easily. So we'll lead you through a process that keeps you as close to standard functionality as possible, but gives you a system that works in the way that you want it to. In terms of the approach, we do have a methodology for doing this. There's still an element of discovery, initiation, analysis, and design build. All of this is documented and we can lead you through it. But what I will say is for anybody who's currently on an old version of NAV, Microsoft have put a lot of tools in place now which enable that transition from on-premise to cloud to be done a lot easier, and I'll come on to that in a second. So why would you choose to move to D365 BC? Well, if you're not on Navision or NAV at the moment, it is important to recognize that the solution is proven. It's been out there a long time as NAV and Navision, but it's now making use of all of the latest Microsoft technologies. So it's a proven solution, but it's still cutting edge in terms of the technology. We can get you there more quickly. As I say, it's very easy to fire up a D365 BC solution. It's integrated with a lot of the other Microsoft Stack products, all of the Azure tools, because this solution BC sits in an Azure environment. You can benefit from new releases and upgrades twice a year, as I've already said, and it's open. There are APIs to link this, integrate this with your existing systems. Scalable and flexible. You can scale this up to many hundreds of users, and flexibility both in terms of your licensing of the solution and, as I've mentioned, the add-ons that you can add to make it industry specific to you. It's a familiar interface, and anybody who's worked with Microsoft products will recognize the interface that Chris is about to show you. And over a period of time, you will see lower costs from implementing a BC solution, a cloud solution, over an on-premise solution, both in terms of the hardware and the ongoing upgrade costs. So what's the roadmap? Well, there's a very, very detailed roadmap for BC, and the next version is released in October 2020. It will be far too long for me to read off that whole list of things that are happening within the solution in October. But better with other D365 solution or with other 365 solutions. For instance, one of the things they're introducing is providing the availability for BC data to be represented in Teams. So we're all getting used to using Teams these days, particularly in the current working environment. Imagine if you could share your BC data through your Teams environment as well. In terms of the application itself, there are many functional changes and improvements made with every release of the solution. Beneath the application button there, you can see that the Microsoft Power Platform is very much part of the solution as well. So whether that's Power BI or any of the other Power Platform tools, which Chris will talk about in a second, they're all available in the latest versions, and they're constantly being improved. And that migration to the cloud box, as I say, Microsoft are putting tools in there which make the transition from older versions of NAV to the cloud version of Business Central a lot easier. You don't have to go through every version of the solution to get you there. They're now allowing you to transition in one jump, which makes things a lot easier. So there's a lot in there. I've put the URL at the bottom of the page there so that you can see where that information has come from, and if you're interested in that, please click on the link when you get this presentation, and you'll be able to see all of the details of the next release. So going back to the start, the platform to thrive, we would expect with Business Central to help you as a business increase financial visibility with the tools that are in there for reporting and forecasting. We'd be able to help you optimize and improve business processes, adding a lot more automation, including increasing sales and service through the system. It's one integrated solution that allows you to make improvements to the way that you do business with both prospects and customers. In terms of the other things that are in there, we've talked about running your business from anywhere, but I think it's important to say that your data within Business Central is safe. The Microsoft platform, the Azure platform, is very secure, and within the solution, you can protect your data. It supports all of the GDPR compliance that you need. So that's a very quick run through of Columbus and the solution that we're showing today. I'm going to hand over to Chris now. If you could please avoid asking questions as we run through the webinar. We will have a 10-15 minutes at the end available to ask questions. So I'm going to hand over to Chris and he's going to run through the rest. Thank you.
Take myself off mute. Thank you, Mark. Before we jump into the software, I thought now would be a good time to introduce to you a product called Power Platform. So what is Power Platform and why is it important to you? Well, the Power Platform is a collective term for 4 Microsoft products. Power BI, which is business analytics, Power Apps, which is application development, Power Automate, which is process automation, and Power Virtual Agents, which is intelligent virtual agents. They're designed to help people and businesses to easily manipulate, surface, automate, and analyze data that can be used with Office 365, Azure, Dynamics 365, and other standalone applications. All of this data is connected through what's called the Common Data Service over in this bottom right-hand corner. The Common Data Service is a repository for data to be used to connect different applications across the Microsoft stack. For everyone on the call, I believe it's important for you to understand what the Power Platform is, what it's made up of, and what it could mean for you and your next ERP project. Today, what I'm going to show you is how to create and publish a Power BI report within Business Central, as well as also creating a Power App based on Business Central data, and show you how everything holds together within the solution itself. So let's get into the product and show you how to access Business Central. So first things first, access into Business Central is no longer through your desktop client. It's either a PC app, a web browser, or a phone tablet. Our demo today will be mainly focused on the web browser. So let's just change screens and let's just log into Business Central. Okay. So first thing I'm going to go to is businesscentral.dynamics.com, and I'm going to click on sign in. Here I'm going to enter my username and password, and once we enter those details, it will then allow me to log into my system. Okay, .com. Click on next, enter the password, and then click sign in. Now, one of the first things we're going to look at here is actually covering off the look and the feel of and navigation in the system. When we first log into Business Central, one of the first notable differences against its predecessor, which is Nav, is the modern look and feel of the web client. Let's just wait for it to catch up. Microsoft have invested huge sums of money into the development of the web browser in order for it to meet the requirements of Nav users who were used to its flexibility. Now, if we're using the latest version of Microsoft Edge, one of the things you can do is actually open additional pages at the click of a button. So in this example here, I've got BC Pages I love. So what I'm going to do is I can just right click and I can open 3 more versions of Nav just at the click of the button, as you can see here. I'll just close that. What it's doing is it's loading up 3 different instances. So here I'm going to load up my customers, I'm going to load up my items, and I'm going to also load up my vendors as well. So for those people who like to work in multiple screens, as we can see here as they're loading, then this is one of the benefits of the new Microsoft Edge. Okay, so just loading up. I apologize for the speed of my internet. When that's doing that, we'll come back to it in just a second. Now, I'm logged in as the business manager. This means it gives me access to sales, it's given me access to purchasing, and it's also given me access to finance. I'm also logged in as a super user. So that means I can see and access everything within D365 BC. So let us explain some of the functionality we have on screen and how we can navigate around the system. So let's start in the top left. In the top left, we have the app launcher, or as we like to call it, the waffle. And this waffle, when it's clicked, shows us all of the applications that a Microsoft license gives us access to. It's a single sign-up for applications. So for example, here, I don't actually have to sign in again in order to get into my other applications because I've signed in already. And it's just a nice way of being able to navigate around the different applications, as you can see, from a single sign-on. So how do we navigate around Business Central? It's either by using the search function over on the right-hand side or using the navigation menu. So let's move across and let's have a look at the search icon. Using the search function, and as soon as we start doing the search and we start to type in some information into here, what this will do is it will do 5 things, okay? So first of all, it loads up what's on the customer page. So I'm on the home page, so it's looking at anything related to do with the customer. Then it's looking at pages and tasks, and again, reports and analysis and documentation and app source as well. So it's showing us 5 different things of which we can now do through the intelligent search. And one of the things that it allows us to do is it also obviously allows us to show more. So it's limiting 3 on the search, but then it can actually show more. Another thing what it can do is here, when I move over the customer, you'll notice here a little green bookmark. What that means is it's bookmarked into my navigation bar. And what I can do is I can move over and say, okay, let's just see. I could actually have a report bookmarked as a link. So very quickly, I can add additional functionality to my navigation bar that allows us to be able to see and personalize the page itself. Okay. If we go into customers itself, let's have a look into the customer. So that's one way in which you can search. So that's a system-wide search. Now, when we go into the customer screen, it'll give us a list of all the customers. And then what we can do is we can actually use another search. So this is a local page search, if you like. And what this allows us to do is to be able to type in any type of text, because this is going to look through all of the information that we can see on screen. So here, if I enter Chris as an example, what this will do is it'll pull that information up and it'll show me all of the companies that are associated with that search. So very quickly, we'll be able to find things. If I then take you back to the home page, what I can also use to navigate around the system is the navigation options. So here, what we've got is we've got a finance function where I can actually select the chart of accounts and I can quickly get to that particular area of the system as well. So very quickly being able to navigate. There's also at the end of the navigation bar, we've got these 3 dots, 3 lines, if you like. And if I click those 3 lines, what it does is it takes me to all of the functionality associated with this role. So I'm a business manager. I'm now going in to show you all of the functionality that's shown with that business role. And if we select, I apologize for the speed of my actual demonstration. Seem to be having a little problem with the speed. So as you can see here, I'm now showing us all the functionality available with this business manager role. If I explore, for those of you who are nav users, you'll notice the explore all is pretty much like the departments function within the old version of nav. However, they've extended this further because I can actually use a find function and I can actually use sales. So if I'm going to type in the word sales there, what it's then going to do is actually going to show me all of the words, all of the areas that has the word sales within that particular function. So, you know, a very quick way in which to be able to find information, navigate around the system. Okay, so let's take us back to the home page. Okay, and see what else is available to us when we first log in. So when we first log in terms of the role-tailored client, what it does is it gives us access to other information and other insights that is relevant for that user. So if I just click it again and take us back again, I'm just going to close that and go back to the main screen. So we've got, okay, so again, so what we're presented with here is obviously the system is broken, the screen is broken down into a number of sections. So here we've got our headlines. So these are automatically generated through artificial intelligence, which is telling us who our top customers are, what the last posted invoice was be. I can actually create new invoices, sales quotes, and so on and so forth. Then below that, we've got our activities. So within our activities, we've got the ability to go straight through into filtered lists. So if I clicked on the overdue sales invoice amount as an example, I can see all of my invoices that are overdue very quickly and easily to be able to access that information. As you can see there, I'll quickly go back. Underneath that again, we've got our information which is associated with our sales, our purchases, approvals, payments, camera, incoming documents, and so on and so forth. Then we go further down where we've got our insights information, where we've got some business assistance, so KPIs and some charts. We've got some Power BI reports where we'll come on to show you how we can surface Power BI into Business Central in just in a little while. And then we've got our things like our favorite accounts, our report index, and our self-service. Now, one of the things we can do is actually personalize each and every page within Business Central. And the way we do that is we go to the cog icon and I go to personalize, and I go to here where it gives me the option to be able to add and remove certain things. And it's also going to show me anything that may be hidden already. Okay, so in this section here, you can see that my trial balance is hidden. Now, if I move over that particular table or area, what it does, it has a drop down, and what it does, it allows me to show that. Once I've showed it and then click on done, it then will allow me to be able to see that information. So very quickly, I've been able to personalize the particular page, and we can do this through every page within the system. So that just gives you a quick overview in terms of the navigation, the look, the feel of Business Central, and it's certainly moved on. Now what I want to do is move into some of the new features in version 16. Okay, and for me, I think there's three key things. One is improved usability, two is better performance, and three is enhanced application features. So some of these application features can be found on the home screen. A new feature in the latest version is this camera feature. So here I can click the camera, and this camera function allows you to be able to add images. So here you're going to see a picture of me because it's linked to my webcam. Good afternoon, everybody. I can literally take a picture and I can actually use that. And again, what that does is you'll see here, it's changed the incoming documents to 14. So what I can then do is I can attach those incoming documents to anything like my purchase orders. I could attach it to my expenses, and so on and so forth. The next set of enhancements that I want to show you are around the sales and purchasing. I'm going to focus on the purchasing, where we're going to focus around the auto insert of purchase lines, use resources, look it over receipting. So I'm going to start with the purchase orders. Okay, so I select my purchase order function, and in order for the auto insert function to work, what we need to open a purchase order from the purchase order list, view and create a new purchase order. So here I'm just going to click on new. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter a new purchase order for vendor 10,000, and what you'll see automatically is it will add in a recurring purchase line that I set up against this particular vendor. So in this example here, it's asking me for a name, but what I can do is I can actually put the vendor number in here, and I hit enter, and what it does is it will automatically pull the vendor information in here, and as you can see here, we now have a new GL line without any information being in there. I can put my my cost amount in there. So again, typically useful for if a customer's, if we've got regular purchase orders that we do with a vendor, if we've got regular purchase orders, sales orders that we do with a customer, you know, a great way of being able to speed the process up to help our productivity. The next enhancement I want to show you is resources on purchase orders. So when we look at the type, we've now got the ability to add a resource. So anybody who does projects or anybody who does a subcontracting, then we can use these to be able to actually include these on a purchase order. So in this example, we've got a service cost for coloring some taps. So here I can put the information in. I can choose the quantity, and I can choose the quantity received, and so on and so forth. So it pulls all the details through. So the ability to add resources is a new feature from for version 16. Also, one of the things that I think probably doesn't get looked at when we're doing sales and purchasing is the ability to quickly add new lines. So in terms of items, so here under the manage and select items function, I can quickly add multiple lines to a purchase order. So if I had lots of lines where I was ordering from a particular vendor, then I could basically add these in very, very quickly. So for example, here, I'm just going to maximize this screen. As you can see, I'm going to filter on the vendor number. So I'm going to filter on vendor 10,000, filter, and very quickly it will allow me to choose the vendor, and it will allow me to enter that vendor number in and click on OK, and it'll show me all the products that I'm purchasing from that vendor. If I wanted to, I could literally from there to there, I could select all of those products, click on OK and add them. However, in this instance, I just want to be able to add that particular line, click on OK, and it automatically adds that into the purchase order, as you can see here. There where I can add the quantity. So at this point, I'm just going to add the quantity. And we can then tab through and so forth. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is over receipting. And okay, let me just get rid of that. Over receipting around purchasing is the ability to receive more than you've ordered. And obviously, if you've got certain suppliers where they tend to send you a little more goods than you actually ordered, then over receipting is new functionality that's been delivered in this latest version. I'll just get rid of that. And the way in which we can do that is as follows. We need to set up over receipting up against a product, and it's very easy to be able to do that. So the way that we do that in Business Central is we can go to the line. So here, for example, I can go to the line. I can add in the product code -S, but this time what I want to do is just show you how it's set up. So if I select from the full list and I go into that particular product as it's shown here, I go into manage and I go into edit as an example. So go into manage and edit. What this will do is it will bring up this particular line. And as you can see in this inventory tab, what we have is an over receipt option here. So if I just show this and click on the full list, it shows us what the setup is like. So in this example here, we've just set up a code. So any product that has the overs code against it will be allowed to have an over receipt tolerance of 20%. So if I order 10, I can receipt 2 additional more. And again, this is just something that you set up. So very good to be able to enable this over receipt functionality for the warehouse people. So I'll cancel that in a second. Whilst I'm in the item screen, one of the things I think is important to show you is this new feature, which probably gets overlooked quite a lot, really, is the ability to copy items. So here, if I drop down and click on copy item, now the copy item is being asked for on quite a number of occasions when we're talking to customers, and now it's available in this version. So let's call it test number 8. How many copies do I want? I want 3 copies. So what this will do is it'll create 3 lines of test 8, test 9, test 10, and it uses the general, and I can decide what functionality that I may want to use across any of these different functions, as you can see here. Yeah, so you decide on what you're going to do. Then I'm going to click on OK, and that's created me a copied item. And as you can see here, if I go back to this screen here and come out, and I do a little search on test, and hopefully what we should see are those those items that could be created. So as you can see there, we've got those. There's 10, there's 8 and 9. So very quickly, the ability to copy items as well. Let's go back to over receipting, shall we? So I'll just cancel that. So we're in the process here of actually entering through and entering this item. So we know it's been set up correctly, and we just need to make sure that it is 1928-S and enter. And we're going to enter the quantity that we want to over receipt, and I'll just show you this function. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to originally order a quantity of 10. Okay. Now in the quantity to receive section, what we're going to do is we're going to enter a quantity of 10 in here. Now, okay, when I enter the quantity of 10, what we should see, okay, and we can release this particular purchase order. So now, so if I just put in one there, okay, and we want to be able to over receipt in this particular column. Now, this would show us an error. So first of all, if I hit enter 2, okay, so first thing it says the status must be equal to released. Okay, so all we're going to do is revert this change, and what we're going to do is it's going to take that out of the over receipt, and it's going to change us back to 0. So I'm just going to release this particular purchase order. So release. Okay, and now it's now the status has been released, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my quantity now to 15. And what you'll notice here is it should give us another error, because it's saying here you cannot enter more than 2 in the over receipting field. So basically what it's telling us here, it's telling the person here, I can't over receipt more than what I've got, so I'm going to change this to 12, and I'm going to change the over receipt quantity to 2. Okay, so okay, and then away we go, puts in the quantity to invoice, and lo and behold, we've got the ability to over receipt. One of the other options that we've got is the ability to collapse and expand our lines information, and also one of the additional features is to expand the real estate of the area that you're working upon. So what we're talking about there is we can just expand the lines information, so I've got much more room to see what I need to see when I'm actually creating the going through the purchase or the sales or the finance or whatever area you are in the system. You can actually pop that out. There's also another little button there which says open this page in a new window, so I could open it up in another window if I needed to. I'm just going to click that back to take us back. Another new feature that has been introduced is printing using the attached PDF document. So if I go to my print function, and again, across services, sales and purchasing, we can use attach this as a PDF. Now, what is that doing? It's going to take this purchase order, and it's going to create, and if we notice the information at the top saying the document has been printed to attachments. So I've now got an attachment here of the original purchase order, of which I can go into, and I can obviously view that new attachment if I need to. And as you can see there, it loads it as a PDF. I can download it, and that'll carry through to the purchase transactions as well. Okay, and one of the other, and again, whilst we're in the print screen, we can also now print to various documents to various printers. So when it comes to managing which document goes to which printer, then we have a new functionality that allows us to be able to do that. So for finance, could send their printers to print their documents to their finance machine. I could have documents emailed to me specifically. So again, one of the new functionalities is the ability to do that. I'm not going to click on the send to the print button, because that'll just send me an email. But it just goes to show how you can, in terms of the flexibility of the new solution. Also, one of the things I will show, which I think gets overlooked quite a bit, and it's been in for quite some time, is this preview posting option. Now, for anybody new into Nav, it is a good tool to basically click on the preview posting button if they're posting anything into the ledgers, because it's just like doing it. It's a test, and what that does is, if I maximize the screen, it actually goes through the process of posting it in the preview mode, but it tells us here you need to enter the document number for the vendor. So it helps people gain what they should do and find out where things will go once it's if there's no problems. So in this example, what it needs is it needs a vendor invoice number. So all I need to do is enter the vendor invoice number in here. So put the details in, and then I can post this particular document. So I'm just going to post, receive an invoice, and click on OK. So also one of the other things, new features, I think that's happened and been asked for on quite regular occasion, is the ability to cancel or correct posted purchase documents in a much easier fashion. There is 2 new functions. Again, they've probably been in a couple of versions earlier, but I think it's worth showing you because if I look at this function here, what we've got is we've got 2 options. We've got correct, which is correct allows you to cancel this invoice and then amend the details and then repost again. So if you've got in the wrong pricing and so on and so forth. And cancel just does that. It cancels the document and reverses all the transactions. So just to show you how quick and easy that is, I want to just click on that and away we go. So, and again, that's just a very nice, easy way of being able to cancel that whole purchase order at the click of a button. Now, I was going to go and show you a few more enhancements, but what I now want to show you is how we actually extend the product using AppSource. Now, Mark talked about this earlier, and I'm just going to show us how to do this. So if I go to AppSource, okay, .microsoft.com, okay, this is a quick way of being able to extend Business Central without the need for custom development, okay? Because we all know at sometimes there are gaps in the functionality that just really doesn't fit what you need, and therefore you've got 2 options. You either custom dev it or we try something from Microsoft that's already been pre-built. A typical example of this might be you might want to extend the document attachment functionality. So that allows us to be able to drag and drop documents. So I'm going to actually just do a search and just type in drag and drop. Okay, and as you can see, I'm typing, it's bringing up information. So I'm just going to select the dynamics here as well. Okay, I'm then going to go see all. And what the AppSource allows us to do is actually, it shows us information associated with our search. And also, it's given us information about actually, this is a preferred solution. And even better, look at this, it says it's free. So it's now given us access to be able to say to applications that people are providing on a free basis, and it's preferred by Microsoft. So let's have a look and see how we can install this. Okay, so obviously when we go into it, we've got videos about the product and so on and so forth, and you've got some user guides, etc. If I click on the get it now, I'm going to say, okay, I accept that. I'm going to continue. Now, just a word of caution here. You don't really want to install an app straight into your production environment. Okay, we always want to go into the sandbox environment first in order for us to be able to test that app to see if it actually fits the requirements that you have. And then once you've tested it and you're happy with it, then you can install it into your production environment. There has been a recent update regarding the admin center that allows us to actually decide where this is going to go. But as you can see here, I'm actually installing this particular app into the system, and I should be able to use it within the next moment or two. Okay, well, we'll come back to that in just a second while this is loading up, because the sandbox tends to take a little bit longer. And just to show you that it does actually work. So here, for example, we've installed it, and here you can see here I've got some other apps in there. But what we should be able to see, if I go to my sales orders as an example, within the sandbox environment, I haven't had to do anything. I haven't had to change anything within Business Central at all. But I am able to show you, hopefully, that there is a ability to drag and drop. And again, it may be a case of so these are a couple of extensions that I've added already. So availability status, where it can say whether the goods on the sales order are actually able to be meeting the demand. So again, just different ways in which you can actually update the system. So here, if it hasn't, what I then need to do is I just need to update. So if I just click on search and I add in doc extender. So if I do a search on here, I can actually go through and I can go through the process of adding this to it. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to come out of that due to time restrictions in order to be able to do this. So I want to show you now how I can extend Business Central further with the help of the Power Platform. Due to time restrictions, we won't be looking at all three Power Platform options, but we will be looking at Power Apps and Power BI, but not Power Automate. Okay, so let's start with Power Apps. So I'm going to use this waffle and I'm going to go here and I'm going to open up in a new tab. The first thing we need to do with Power Apps is to basically connect Business Central to the CDS, the Common Data Service, and the way we do that is through data, and we actually do our connections. Okay, so what you can see here's a list of connections that I've already connected to. If I select a new connection, I'm not going to go through the process, but as you can see here, there are over 200 plus applications that I can connect to. Yeah. And you can create your own custom connections as well. So again, it's very important to show you that these are all pre-built. I don't need to do anything, but it's just a nice and easy option. Once you've connected your data, which I've shown you just before there, so I've connected Business Central. What I can do here is then I can go to my home and I can actually use the other data sources where I'm now going to create an app. So I'm going to create a customer app in seconds that our salespeople can connect to and update customer information. So what we're going to do is, it's again without any code. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose which database data set I'm going to connect to. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the environment that I'm going to connect it to, and also, so in this example, I've got lots of test companies in here. I'm going to connect it to this particular production environment, and I'm going to choose it to my customers. And in the bottom right hand corner, we've got a connect button. I select connect, and we're straight into connecting things and getting things ready. So it's actually in the background is now creating an app that we could use and update Business Central with. And as you can see, the system is doing it all for us. So it's low code and no code development and how we extend Business Central. Okay, so while that's just loading up, and as you can see here, it's loading this particular lot off. So it's now built the information, it's built the app. I don't want to show this, and I can skip this. And here's the information. And obviously, we've got the sections where we can play about and do things with it. But what's important is if I just play this and preview the app, and I go through to the D365 Corporation, and you'll notice here in my customer list. So if I go back to my customer list, the customers is called the D365 Corporation. And what I want to show you is how easy it is for me, again, with permissions. If I go to the D365 Corporation, and I'm going to edit this name, and I'm going to change the name to the D365 Corp. Okay, and then save. And now I'll just show you here. It's just before I do press that button, just to make sure that I'm being genuine. So if we go into the customer list, and hopefully when that loads up, we should be able to see our customer list. So finally loads up, and then what we can see here is the D365 Corporation at the top, which is then going to show us here. Okay, so now if I select that into my Power App, click on Save, and it's now changed to the D365 Corp. Now if I come out of that and close Okay, go back into my customers and I hit F5 on this particular screen. And what this will do is it will eventually change. So if I just hit enter again, it'll take us back into that particular screen where it's bookmarked. And hopefully what you will see is the name of the customer has been changed. Now, if you start to think about the possibilities of what you can do with apps, then without any coding, you'll realize that the opportunities of extending your capability of your ERP are endless. So there you can see that's now been changed. Okay, so the final bit that I want to show you is Power BI. Now, if I go back to my home screen, we can see that Power BI and for those of you who don't know, is a business intelligence tool of which reports and dashboards can be surfaced within Business Central. Now, if I just scroll down the middle of the screen, you can see, but how easy is it for you as a user to be able to create a report from scratch and surface that into BC? Well, let me show you in 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to create a sales report based on an item ledger and item ledger entries. All right, so I'm going to create a report just like this. There's 3 things that you're going to need. There's a Power BI desktop, Power BI web account, and Business Central. Now, once you're in the Power BI desktop, which is a free download from the web, to help speed this process up, as you can see, speeds are not on my side today. What I've done is I've already connected my data. So I've already connected Business Central to this. And what I've done is I've pulled in these 2 tables from Business Central. However, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a relationship between the 2. So I'm creating a relationship between my item list and my item ledger entries. Why am I doing that? That's because I need to be able to pull the description between the report, the dashboard that I'm just going to create. So, okay, so I've got my 2 tables. I've got my relationship. As if I move over, you can see there, and I'm now going to build you a report. First thing I'm going to do is go to my item ledger entry table, and I'm going to select the sales amount. So I want to see what are my total sales amount for that period of time. So sales amount, click on here, and then straight away I'm going to choose the card option, which here up there, 1, 2, 3, and that'll tell me what my sales amount actual is based on the total numbers. Okay, so on all of my item ledger entries. So here, what we've got is our sales amount, and there we go. And I can just minimize that screen a little bit, and then I can just drag this across into the middle. Okay, so very quickly I'm building the screen up. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an item number list. So I want my items. So in here, item number, and I also want my sales amount again. So here, I want my item number, and I want my, so again, my sales amount actual. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a little filter because I've got a lot of zeros on here. So in this example, I'm going to say sales amount actual. I need to change that. So I only want to show anything which is greater than 0, and I want to apply the filter. Okay, and hopefully what that will do is it will change that information. So great, it's changing the information. I want to move this across to here. I'm going to drag this down to the bottom of the screen very quickly. And then the last thing I'm going to do is create a new chart. So for example, here, I'm going to choose my item number again. I'm going to choose my sales amount actual again. Yeah. And this time I'm going to put it in a, what they call a tree map. Okay. So I'm going to create myself a visual, and again that. And that example. And this time what I want is the description. So I'm going to create the description. From the item list. So pull down the description, and then what we're going to do is be able to publish this. So let's just scroll down. So here, if I look at my item list and I've got my description, there we go, select that, and straight away I've been able to create that particular dashboard. And again, obviously there's a lot more things that you can do with Power BI, but I want to show you how we can now publish that into Business Central. So we're now going to publish it. So I'm just going to click on this. where it's allow me to want to save the changes. Yes, let's just give it a name. Here, as you can see, I've done this a number of times before. So here I'm just going to give it a number. Let's do 5 and then click on save. And what this is going to do is it's going to say, in my Power BI account, it's going to ask me where do you want to publish it. So I want to publish it into my workspace. So for example, here, it's going to allow me to be able to do that. And in this example, hopefully it won't be much longer. It'll allow me. And then once we've published it, so here, my workspace, click on select, and that's going to save it and publish that particular. As you can see here, it's publishing the item into my Power BI account. So let's go into my Power BI account. And again, one more minute and we'll be done. If I open this in a new tab, I go into my workspace, and hopefully what you will see is this new report that I've just created and published. So under my workspace here, I can open that up, and what you will see is a whole load of reports that I've created previously, and again, data sets and so on and so forth. So again, here it is there. There's my report that I created using Power BI Desktop, pulling the information from Business Central, which is great, but how do I get it into Business Central? Well, that's quite easy. So if we go into the Business Manager, I go into my reports, into Power BI. So if I just get rid of this a second, I go into my Power BI reports dropdown. I select the type of report that I want, select the report, and then I can select the report, enable it, and then be able to surface that back into Business Central. So here, let's go. Click on search. If I choose item, and as you can see here, if I scroll down, there's my sales demo. I can enable, and I can click on OK, and I can see that it'll now be surfaced in Business Central. So that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of the demonstration. I hope that you've enjoyed seeing some of the new functionality that Business Central has to offer, and also how users can extend the platform through AppSource, and how the Power Platform will play a big role in your next ERP project. Mark, do you know if we've had any questions come through on the chat at all?
No, I've not seen any questions come through. Does anybody out there have any questions before we finish? What I'm going to do is unmute you all. So if you do have a question, please feel free to share it with us. Alternatively, you can email either Chris or myself after the presentation, or get on a call with us, and we'll answer them that way. So if there are any questions, please ask now. And if not, I'll just have a quick summary of the presentation that we've just given. So you should all be unmuted.
No.
Well, you should be able to, sorry, you should. So if anybody wants to unmute themselves, please feel free to ask a question. Just quickly to summarize, what we tried to show you today is how a cloud platform like Business Central can help within a business like yours. We've looked at several things there. We've looked at the ease of use, the familiarity of the interface. Everybody's familiar with that Microsoft type of interface with the search functions, etc. The speed of access to data, the enhanced visibility through tools like Power BI, access to data, and visualizing data as well through a Power BI dashboard. How the enhanced functionality that's released every 6 months can help. The solution is invested in by Microsoft continually, and that shows in the functionality that's released every 6 months. Enhanced performance through simplifying of processes within the Business Central solution. You saw there they had a lot of functionality which enables you to enhance and improve performance within the system. And I think key are those Microsoft Power Platform tools, Power BI, Power Apps, particularly that Chris showed you there, how easy it is to develop a Power App that people can use to edit data within the system and update and view data from within the system. In the past, with Navision or NAV, that would have required development. So we're looking at non-code extensions there to the solution. In terms of extending it further, we showed you AppSource and the different functionality that is available from AppSource, but there's also that ability as well to extend the solution through developments and through what are now called extensions to the solution if you need that. And I'll just close by saying that the aim of Microsoft obviously is to move everything to the cloud eventually. That's certainly where they see businesses taking their solutions for all of the reasons we talked about earlier. They're making that migration path, particularly from the on-premise versions of NAV, very easy with a set of tools now. And all of you who are current customers of ours will have seen that there's an offer at present of moving to the cloud through a reduced or a discounted license structure as well. So anybody thinking about it, now's a good time to do it. So with that, we'll end the presentation. We'll make this available both on the website and available via a link to all of you who've attended today. Thank you very much for your time. I do hope that if you have any questions, you send them through, and I think there may be one.
Yeah, there is a question come through.
There is a question. Yeah, so quickly, would CRM Online have the ability to sync both NAV and BC? The answer to that is yes. There are standard integration tools now through the Common Development Platform that allow you to do that. So that's available both as a sort of out-of-the-box solution, but you're also able to integrate with any modified entities as well within the CRM platform.
It's all, Leslie, it's all managed through the common data service now.
Yep.
Okay.
Can you use one data across multiple currencies? Yes, you can. So in terms of how the data structure works, it's like, in terms of Business Central, it's very similar to NAV in the way that you can set up a single database that has multiple companies within it, and within those companies you can use multiple currencies. If you wanted to go down a route where you had different localized versions of Dynamics BC, D365 BC, you can do that as well, and you can now do that within one database, or sorry, within one entity. So you link it to your Office 365 entity, for instance, and have multiple databases within one entity. That's a new feature actually that's just come out. Previous to this, you weren't able to do that. But certainly in terms of multiple currencies, yes, same sort of functionality that applies in NAV applies across Business Central as well. Are there any more questions before we end? Okay, does BC handle different time zones? Yes, it does. So obviously you can run Business Central, and it does depend whether you're running Business Central out of a single entity or not. So I guess we'd need to dig a little bit deeper into that question. So I'm just trying to unmute. Doesn't appear to be working. Darren, can we perhaps contact you after the presentation on that one? The simple answer is yes, but there may be some detail that we're missing there that we need to drill into in a little bit more detail. Okay, we'll contact you after to go into that.
Cool.
Okay, anything else? Okay, in that case, thank you all very much for giving us your time this afternoon. We've run over by a few minutes. Apologise for that. I think we all need to chip in and buy Chris and you
Some new internet
your
connection.
internet connection. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Appreciate it. And like I say, any questions, please email them to either me or Chris. We will be sending out an email after the event to all of you. So thanks for attending, and we'll be in touch soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you.